Hey guys, it's Bertrand Jerome, and right now I'm on the way to the White House reporting to you from Washington, D.C. And I recently received a request from a good friend of mine to walk around and see a few of the monuments, tell you what I think about them. So that's what I'm doing right now. And here we have on our left the White House. The big White House, the home of the president, and Secret Service. Protect and serve, Secret Service. And there doesn't seem to be very many people here today. Guess I picked a good day. Wonder what's going on in the White House. And if you look on the distance, you can see the Washington Monument. Well, no, you can't. But here we are. This is the White House. And what do I think about it? I don't know. I think it's an amazing architectural structure. And if you don't know the history of the White House, you absolutely should look it up. It's very interesting. I find it to be fascinating how before it was pretty much open to the people, and only recently is security so tight to get into the White House, because before it was literally the people's house. So people would show up and have dinner with the president all the time. I think it was kind of a cool thing. But now times have changed and people like to kill presidents. So it's as close we can get. But here we are. Pass. There's a little fountain. Let's see if we can get a bit closer. There's a fountain. That's about it for the one. All right, here we are on our next memorial. We are at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, and this is the newest memorial and actually one of my favorites. I really enjoy it. It's a really nice memorial. It really does his image and his legacy justice, in my opinion. There was a bit of controversy when it opened last year because one of the quotes, which I'll show you later, Maya Angelou felt made him seem arrogant, which was not the case at all. He was not an arrogant man. If anything, he was selfless. And, Dr. Martin Luther King. And here we are. And one of the coolest things I think about it is the quotes that surround the entire memorial. If you look here, they're all quotes from either speeches or one of his books. And if you come at night, it's really incredible. The lights come up, and because it's carved, it creates a shadow, and it makes a really excellent effect. And this is the actual monument itself as I approach it. And this quote right here says, "Out of a mountain of despair, a stone of hope." If you look closely, you see that this is actually a cutout of this, which basically is saying this here is mountain of despair, and this is the stone of hope. I thought that was one of the cooler things about the memorial in itself, that they used that metaphor and made it a bit more literal. And this is an actual monument. I think it's really an incredible thing. About as close up as I can get. I really enjoy it. This is probably my 7th time since it opened coming here, but it's alright. If you look down, although the weather's kind of poor, there's still a few people here taking pictures. And here's the quote that I was telling you about earlier, and Maya Angelou just did not like. It says, "I was a drum major for justice, peace, and righteousness." And although he was, it made him sound like he was the main guy. And she just didn't like it. She just didn't like it. And there's more quotes over here, but I really think this is one of those things that you should look up if you can't make it out here. But it goes all the way down, and it creates a really nice effect. And it goes all the way the mountain, and it goes back around. This is just a really lovely, and it's right here on the Potomac. Across the water is the Thomas Jefferson Memorial. We won't make it to today, but it's there, and it's lovely. It really is lovely. It's one of my favorite memorials, and it's actually the first African American memorial to be made. And I think it's incredible that it was made during my lifetime. Alright, here we are. Our next monument, the Lincoln Memorial. And here it is. And I guess I'll tell you a little bit about it while I take this trek. This is where Dr. Martin Luther King had his "I Have a Dream" speech, and so much more. Here is the famous reflecting pool that leads to the Washington Memorial. And this is the actual thing. So, here we go. Alright, first flight was not that bad. Lincoln, I like Lincoln. I mean, for obvious reasons, I like Lincoln. He's on the Emancipation Proclamation. I think it's interesting how people don't really remark on the fact that he didn't particularly care about ending slavery. He just wanted to stop the spread of slavery, which is good. And he really had no intention of freeing the North slaves, because unless it had a political advantage or a strategical advantage, which by the end of the Civil War it did. And even by the end of the Civil War, it didn't actually free anyone. Oh, look at this. I never noticed this. It says, "I have a dream, Martin Luther King Jr. The March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, August 28, 1963. That must be where he stood. Wow, that's incredible. Anyway, and really, it wasn't him who freed the slaves, but whatever, that's fine. But here it is, the Lincoln Memorial. I actually haven't been here in a few years, Over here is his famous Gettysburg Address. And it starts 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Anyone who's taken U.S. history, you know. You know. As you can see, there's quite a few tourists because, like I said on the way up, this is a very popular memorial. This is another speech. Not quite sure which one. That's alright, I'll look it up. And here is the Lincoln Memorial Bookstore, which I think it's interesting that they had the foresight to have. We won't go in, but it's a little cute thing. And up here, this is really a beautiful piece of architecture. I really enjoy this. It reminds me a lot of the Parthenon. And look at this view. Oh my God. This is incroyable. And the wind is a bit frisky today, so it doesn't reflect the memorial. The Washington Memorial doesn't reflect perfectly, but still, this view. The cityscape in itself is just lovely. Simply wonderful. And that's about it for the Lincoln Memorial. Guys, I found the secret museum. I was leaving the Lincoln Memorial, and I found this museum about the Lincoln Memorial. It's really cool. It's like a map of the mall. And at the top, of course, is the memorial. And then is a little blurb about the dedication. And then all the people who spoke. This is a competition talking about the different things that they considered. The Lincoln Memorial Commission determined that the memorial form should possess the quality of universality and have a character essentially different from that of any monument existing in the district or hereafter to be erected. That's interesting. So this is the only thing, the only memorial in the district that will ever exist like this. This is the thing about the building of the memorial. A nice little movie playing, like in every other museum about the memorial. This is really neat. And this is about the March on Washington. The various marches on Washington, excuse me. This is a really neat museum. So, for all the tourists out there, when you take the stairs up, take the elevator down, and it'll take you right to this museum. I mean, if not, you can always just walk through, and you'll come out right here. So it's a little side exit. And for all you handy-capable people, if you go in right here, there's an elevator, and you can go right to the top. Okay, for real this time, this is the last thing about the Lincoln Memorial.